My guest at this time can be seen every week on Ring of Honor TV. She recently also made her in-ring debut as part of Women of Honor. It is Quinn McKay. Quinn, thank you very much for taking the time to chat with me here today.
Hello. And it's just the Ring of Honor women's division now.
It's just Women of Honor is done?
Done. Women of Honor is done. Completely done, so.
Wow, that's like the end of the Divas era.
Kind of, yeah. So we're getting the inaugural Ring of Honor World Women's Champion this summer.
Wow, I love this. I'm sorry. I feel like ill prepared right now. This is really, so when did this get decided that Women of Honor was no longer a thing?
So I think that was officially decided whenever we were going to do the tournament last year before it got canceled due to COVID.
Okay.
But I don't know whenever we actually released the official statement about it. I don't think we had made like a super huge deal, but that's why it's really exciting because it's the Ring of Honor women's division. And I feel like we've come under a lot of fire and scrutiny over the years. People feel like the women's division like starts and stops all the time in Ring of Honor. So now I feel like it's going to be a lot easier to be integrated into just like the Ring of Honor roster proper because there's nothing that sets us apart as a different brand anymore.
So what are your expectations then, Quinn, for the Women of Honor, or not the Women of Honor, the women's division? Oh God, this is going to be hard. I've been saying Women of Honor forever. Okay. So what are your expectations then for the women's division in Ring of Honor? Do you think 2-3 matches a show alongside the men's matches at more live events, like fully integrated kind of thing? Is that what you're hoping comes of it?
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of different ideas that are being bounced around right now. The person that you really should have this conversation with is Maria Kanellis Bennett, because she has like the grand master plan, right? And I feel like she has a lot of things in order, but I've heard different things being bounced around right now on Wednesday nights, we have the Ring of Honor Women's Division Wednesday.
Right.
Wednesday night at 7 p.m. We also do a watch party on Twitter, #ROHWD.
Okay.
So that's really exciting. And right now that's a show that's just women. But what I personally would like is just equal representation for both on the same brand.
Yeah, that's a fair ask, Quinn. Yeah. A very fair ask. And you tell me to talk to Maria. I talked to Maria like a month ago.
And this didn't come up?
No, we talked a lot about the relaunch of the women's division in Ring of Honor. And she was not so as blunt at the beginning to tell me that the Women of Honor division, like that it had changed names and everything. This is all. That's why I'm asking, because I'll slow it down here a second. Ring of Honor is making a lot of changes here.
Yes.
In like a pretty small amount of time. So I apologize here if I'm missing a tick for a half moment, but you talk about how I should talk to Maria. What has it been like for you to work with Maria and some of the other management and upper people right now as you watch the company really kind of transform at the moment?
Yeah, it's been a really interesting time to be here and just kind of exist behind the scenes of it all, being like the host of the show and then doing the backstage interviews and stuff. And really having watched the company change almost completely in the 2 years that I've been involved. But working with Maria is absolutely incredible. And it seems like she's like a beacon of like kindness and light and warmth, but also in the sense that it seems like we have a direction now. And she's like the physical manifestation of the Ring of Honor women's division going in a direction. And so I think that she plays a lot of different roles. She wears a lot of different hats, but she's accomplishing some really incredible things. And I really appreciate her.
So what you're telling me and everybody else, because I talked to Maria, right? And it's sometimes hard to differentiate the authority figure type stuff, right? Yeah. Like who's actually doing stuff backstage, who is just, in catering and then waltzes out and makes tag team matches, right? So you're saying that this is what you see is what you get with Maria right now. She's very hands-on and actually making suggestions and working to build the women's division of Ring of Honor right now.
Yes. Well, and I think it's really important that she's there because, a lot of the creative process for Ring of Honor is men.
It's everywhere, Quinn. It's everywhere, man.
So, yeah, and it's like that everywhere. So her being there, I think regardless of how much power she actually does or does not have, she's a really positive guiding force backstage.
Yeah, that's awesome. And great, I'm sure, for you to see that, hey, there's more road to go here. You don't have to be 35 and taken out into the field, right? You can find other ways. You know,
she's amazing because she's done it all in wrestling. She's seen it all in wrestling. She has been at some of the lowest points in women's wrestling. Like, she was around that, and she watched women go through that, and she had to go through it. And so having her here going like, no, we're not going to do this. We're not going to do this. And just the knowledge that she has to, I don't know. It's really great to have somebody that's been through it and knows what not to do and what to look out for.
Got to feel very serendipitous and fortunate right now for you to be in this time period where you don't have to go through what she did and kind of get to, carve your own path right now and do something a little different, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So with you, Quinn, you're in the ring now. You're wrestling. You have wrestled before. This isn't like you just, took off the glasses and the bow tie and decided to step into a ring. I believe the president of our site, Ron, he actually saw you in like Barbados, like shortly before the pandemic or something went down.
So whenever we went to go to the show in Barbados, like, there were rumblings of COVID, but like there wasn't any like sure like news about it, because like I'm pretty tapped into the news. I read Google News a lot more than I probably should. I like to mindlessly scroll the news instead of social media because it makes me feel like slightly better about myself, but it's like still doom scrolling, you know what I mean? So it's really not that much more beneficial. But I hadn't really heard about it at all. And then like we touched back down in the United States, and I remember we landed in Barbados and like they were taking our temperatures, and it was like really strange because they weren't doing that in the States. And then we landed in the States, not even, I think it was like 5 days later, we go into Miami, which is one of the most the largest international clubs in the United States. And nothing, just thousands of people packed together. There was no temperature checking. It was just like completely normal. And then the whole country shut down like 3 days later. It was bananas. It was bananas.
Wow. And so, he was telling me, because we were talking about the experience, he was like, first of all, he was very complimentary of you. He said you were like a natural in the ring.
He's very nice. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, Raj, yes, very, very nice guy. But like, so was the anticipation then when the Ring of Honor Women's Division tournament started up last year, were you going to make this debut and transition into the ring much earlier than we're seeing you now, or no?
I don't know what the hard and fast plans were for me involving the women's tournament, because I know obviously I was going to be involved, but I don't know if I was necessarily supposed to wrestle, because those details were still being ironed out, and I think we were still releasing participants in the field in general. So I mean, it could have things in wrestling change all the time. You have no idea, like, if it could be going one way and then the next it doesn't. So you kind of just like don't take anything at face value or believe it until you're like walking out to your entrance music.
Yeah, for sure. And so, but I mean, just from walking into 2020, I mean, there was Free Enterprise, which was a huge event. There was a lot of talk about what was going on around ring. What were your expectations for 2020 before everything fell apart, Quinn? What did you think was going to be the direction?
I was really, really excited because we were having this huge women's division relaunch. And I feel like that's kind of what I had been waiting for since I had gotten there, because
this is everything. You're a woman, you want to wrestle, you want to have opportunity. Yeah, totally.
Right, exactly. Like I was waiting for something, and I was like, oh, this is it. I think that like this could be the moment. Maybe this is the time. Maybe this is going to happen. Right. And then, nothing happened at all. But 2020 across the board was going to be an incredible year for Ring of Honor. I think we had a lot of big plans, but obviously the thing that I was looking forward to most was going to be the women's tournament in the summer, the Quest for Gold tournament. Like we had been hyping it up, and it was so exciting. And it was back in March. So obviously it was going to be a huge thing if we had already been talking about it. And I had so much belief that it was really going to put the Ring of Honor women's division back on the map. And then it just like didn't happen, and it was like the wind out of our sails. But what I can say about Ring of Honor throughout the course of the pandemic, like they pulled themselves up by their bootstraps and just kind of reassessed everything and attacked in a much different way. I think getting back to the very like scaled down sports based presentation was huge for us and really set us apart from people that were able to have, like digital fans in the audience and stuff like that. Like, I think that whenever people thought that we were going to hang a right, we hung a left. And that was really, really instrumental in where Ring of Honor is now.
Yeah, for sure. And just on like a personal level, like, you guys go into the bubble, right? After a while, because Ring of Honor really went dark for a lot longer than other. Like on a personal, how was it for you knowing that you weren't being asked to kind of be a canary in a coal mine? Like you're watching the rest of the business kind of keep moving, but you still have your role with Ring of Honor, and they're not asking you to do what a lot of the promotions were doing at the time.
Ring of Honor has had our safety in mind first and foremost throughout this entire thing. And I think that the Maryland State Athletic Commission, who we work very closely with, has a lot to do with the way that we were able to come back and how successful it was. Because with us doing those bubbles, we never had a single COVID outbreak
I know.
on the Ring of Honor roster.
That's crazy.
One. It was amazing. So knowing that I work for a company that values my life and my health that much was phenomenal, because you were hearing about these outbreaks everywhere all the time. And it was just really great to not have to worry about that. But the bubbles in general, those are a fun time. That's a whole other thing.
What are you saying? Fun time, like sarcastically, or like secret rooftop late night firework barbecue?
Oh my God, no. Okay. I say fun time sarcastically, yes, because the bubbles are not a fun time, because there's no congregation, there's no secret beat ups. It's just you in a hotel room for days by yourself.
That's crazy.
I played a lot of The Sims 4.
Man, like we're gonna be old and like talking to young wrestlers about like you'll never forget what it was like to work in the pro wrestling business through the pandemic, right?
What a wild, historic time to be alive. And I think another great thing about Ring of Honor during the pandemic is that we went dark, but by doing that, and then for about 3 or 4 months just releasing archived and cataloged footage, we created the week by week YouTube show. And right. So even though we weren't wrestling and creating in-ring content, all of our roster members, all of our stars were still being able to tell stories and have a creative outlet and like get across their personality and what they were doing in the pandemic through the week by week series. And I think that was really important. And it gave the Ring of Honor fans and the Ring of Honor audience the opportunity to get to know a bunch of wrestlers in a way that they hadn't been able to before.
Yeah, it was a moment, I thought, for a lot of Ring of Honor fans to kind of reflect on where the company had been, who was still there, who was going to be coming on board to be a part of it, as the relaunches started up here right now. And obviously we're in it, and you're now actively in the ring. So when do you find out you're going to start wrestling for the women's division in Ring of Honor, and how was it working with Angelina there in that first match?
So obviously, like, working with Angelina is a very mean person.
Yeah.
And I didn't enjoy losing to her, but I did get to wrestle like one of the most influential women in women's wrestling. Mm-hmm. And so like I have that feather in my cap. So it was kind of this bittersweet opportunity where it's like, well, she hates you, but it's Angelina Love.
Sure. What was the reaction backstage to your performance? Like, are we going to see you unleash now? Are we going to see more Quinn McKay in the ring? What do you think? Yeah,
I don't know. I know. I think I know about what you guys do. I hope that I'm going to get the opportunity to be in the ring again. But I mean, nothing is hard and fast, and things in wrestling change all the time. So I wish that I had more to tell you, because I feel like I did well. I'm a perfectionist. Obviously, there are things that I always want to improve upon, like, for instance, the fact that I lost. But in the future, I think if given the opportunity, I could change that ending. And that's what we're hoping for. But I think that it was, I think my performance in general was really well received.
Good. Yeah, because, I mean, you're one of the most, identifiable women when it comes to Ring of Honor. I mean, it's just, everybody sees you every week. You're breaking the news. I mean, it's a logical transition to get you in their wrestling and things like that. Who are some of the other women right now at Ring of Honor that you would like to have matches with if you're given the opportunity?
Oh, all of them?
Well, that's you can't say everybody. You got to pick that. The reason I asked the question is so you could pick some people.
Well, specifically, I'd really like to have a match with Mandy Leon because she screwed me over. I mean, if you watch the match, she didn't. Here's my problem with it, and here's the issue. Because, she didn't technically cheat, but she did cause me to lose, and I have a hard time rectifying those two different ideas in my head and being okay with it. And I feel like if she messed with my match, then I should have the opportunity to have a match with her and see if she really wants to mess with me.
Well, you've had issues with the Allure for like years.
Always.
Yeah, like forever.
Always.
Yeah, forever, right? So like, but what about evening the odds? Like, is there somebody that you're like another woman in the back that maybe you could see yourself aligning with to help settle the score or anything like that?
I don't know if you have been watching the Ring of Honor Women's Division Wednesdays.
I'm not as actively as I should have.
There's this athlete that I think Amy Rose may actually be managing named Max. They are incredible. Very scary, very large. And I think that could even the odds. Maybe. I like Max. And they haven't tried to eat me yet. So I think my chances are good.
Okay, I'm getting like PCO vibes here right now. You know, off the description at the moment.
Yeah, more wasteland, less Frankenstein.
Okay, got it. What about the free agents out there right now? I mean, the business just became kind of flush with some free. I mean, Lana, Santana Garrett, Ruby Riott, obviously the Iconics are rolling around out there. Would you like to see some of these bigger name women kind of come in to Ring of Honor?
Absolutely, all of them, because we're in such a transitionary period right now in the women's division, right? We're literally building it as we speak. So the more face value that we can bring to it, the more eyes that we can get on it from people in free agency with their own fandoms, bringing that in, like the more eyes, the better. All of them. I think the Iconics would be incredible. Chelsea Green. We just announced that Allison Kay is going to be in the tournament. I'm very, very excited to see Allison Kay in the women's tournament. I really personally like to wrestle her in the future, given the opportunity. So there's a lot going on right now, and it could go a lot of different ways. And I think only half of our tournament field has even been announced. So it could be anyone.
Man, and I don't know how the timing works out with the 90 days and everything. I don't know how many of these people could necessarily fit, but it is fun to think about, you know, somebody like a Ruby Riott or, you know, the Iconics, who are real workhorses that didn't really get a chance to shine elsewhere, you know, coming to Ring of Honor. You bring up how they could bring their particular fandoms. You guys have really knocked it out of the park with Danhausen and EC3, I think, finding those kind of Trojan horses for fans that are bringing in new people. I mean, it's been nice seeing, you know, some of these characters get added in with the more traditional kind of Ring of Honor, sometimes like pure wrestling type stuff.
Like a breath of fresh air. There's a little something for everyone.
What do you think of Danhausen and his jar of teeth? Are you a fan of Danhausen?
We have a storied history. All right. Yeah. We have a speckled past, but we're friends right now. Okay. Once he no longer tried to like hijack my show and get me fired and take over my job, then everything was fine. He's hard to understand and have a conversation with. I mean, at least one half of it. He's clearly having a conversation. It's not always easy to tell what he's talking about, but I think from the conversations that we've had that he likes me, he's at least not trying to get me fired anymore.
Well, that's good, right? I mean, because you don't want to get on the wrong side of that little evil demon man.
No, I don't. And you know what? I think that he should have his sacks of money and that he should have his blimp. So, you know, Ring of Honor, Dave Honor I keep trying to tell him this, Dave Honor's not a real person. But if we could get him the blimp and just get him to shut up about it, I think it'd be fine.
So you're the breaking news person over Ring of Honor. So looking forward here a little bit more with the company. Crowds, what are your expectations for, you know, when we're going to see Ring of Honor kind of more regularly in front of fans? And do you think there's a chance that maybe by the end of the year, we finally start to get to see some live Ring of Honor TV? Do you think that's a possibility?
From what I know, we're inviting fans back for the first time at Best in the World.
Right.
So that's going to be very exciting. I don't know if our television tapings are going to have fans back necessarily as quickly. And that's not from anything that I have heard. That's just from the way that I think that I would do it, I guess. We've had a really great response from finally not having our shows spoiled on the internet 8 weeks before you see the episode. I think that that's been a very positive thing for Ring of Honor, mostly because it means that people are actually watching the episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, come for the wrestling, stay for the wrestling, maybe.
It's been, I'll say this, I'll agree with you. It's been a lot easier to follow linearly because it was really hard to follow there for a while, especially across all the syndic, like when things would air on different days and things like that. I agree with you.
So if it was me, I would maybe not have fans of the television tapings this year. But I think that we could do some live events and some house shows, and that would be an incredible way between pay-per-views to be able to get in front of people.
Yeah, kind of scale up is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Gradually. All right, cool. Hey, Quinn, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me about what you're doing, what Ring of Honor is doing, the new women's division, the Ring of Honor women's division. I'm going to retire Women of Honor from my vernacular. It feels right. It just feels good, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's the right direction. We're getting there. We're getting there.
I agree. Hey, Quinn, where can people go online to find you, follow you, support you, all those great things?
You can find me at Quinn McKay on pretty much all social media. One of them might be real Quinn McKay, but if it doesn't have a blue check mark, it's not me, and they're just trying to scam you for money.